Zimbabwe is a sovereign state. We don't need to please the West or please the East. We please ourselves.
Well, people had their land seized in Zimbabwe who were born in Zimbabwe, and they were targeted on the basis of their race, and I wonder if you think that's good or bad.
No, land did not belong to a race. It belonged to Zimbabweans.
Right. Tucker Carlson just got shut down on a global stage, and the clip is going viral for all the right reasons. At the World Government Summit in Dubai, he sat down with Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa and tried to frame the conversation the way Western media always does. West versus China, pick a side, who's exploiting you less? Mnangagwa wasn't having it. Carlson asked him directly whether African countries are getting a better deal from Chinese investment compared to what they experienced with Western powers over the past 150 years.
Do you think that Zimbabwe and other African countries, to be totally blunt, get a better deal from Chinese investment than they have with Western powers over the past 150 years?
Well, my view is that initially, as we became independent, we had most of our development thrust was from the West. But as we evolved, we have also benefited from investment and cooperation from countries like China.
Classic trap question designed to force Zimbabwe into defending one form of extraction over another. Mnangagwa stopped him immediately, telling him that the foundation of his question was flawed and not accurate. Then he delivered the line that's still echoing across the continent. He made it clear that Zimbabwe is a sovereign nation that doesn't need to satisfy the West or the East. Zimbabwe's priority is satisfying itself and its own interests. The room erupted. Carlson tried to recover, but the damage was done.
But the basic structure seems the same. Foreign powers extract mineral wealth from various African countries, but do you think that the arrangement that Zimbabwe and other countries currently have with China is better or worse for Zimbabwe than it was under, say, the Brits?
I think the premises upon which you construct your question, I don't think is perfect.
Not surprised.
Yes, Zimbabwe is a sovereign state.
Yes.
You understand? And we move on the basis that gives us the best results of our resources. Whether it is relation with the West or the East, what is primarily important is what we ourselves as Zimbabweans are satisfied with. We don't need to please the West or please the East. We please ourselves.
Good. That seems like a good model for every sovereign country.
Mnangagwa had just dismantled the entire framework, rejecting the idea that Africa has to choose between old colonizers and new creditors. When Carlson pushed again later, bringing up land reform and framing it as kicking out white farmers, Mnangagwa didn't flinch. He pointed out that Zimbabwe has been under sanctions for decades because they reclaimed their land. Then he said something even more direct. He explained that the land never belonged to any particular race from the beginning. When colonizers took the land from Africans, the time eventually came for Zimbabwe to take it back. Those who were willing to own land on the same terms as black Zimbabweans were welcome to stay. But those who felt they deserved superior status chose to leave. He flipped the entire narrative. The land was stolen first. Zimbabwe took it back. Anyone willing to stay on equal terms could stay. The ones who left couldn't accept not being superior anymore.
President Bio, thank you for this. Do you think that there is a substantial difference? I'm just trying to understand from a Western perspective how the East does business in Africa versus how the West does, and it may be too sensitive a topic really even to talk about out loud, but to the extent you have a view you can share, would you?
I'm sure relations cannot be measured country by country.
Yes.
Relations depend on the historical background of countries between one country and another.
Yes.
That's the basis on which relations grow and are nurtured. For us in Zimbabwe, yes, we are a former British colony. But we are very happy with the relations that have now developed with, say, countries like China and so on,
Yes.
despite being a former British colony.
President Mnangagwa, I wonder what lessons you've been in the government of Zimbabwe for decades in various roles, including through a very turbulent period where your predecessor famously kicked out the whites and then the economy tanked and now it's rising again. I wonder if you would summarize the lessons that your country has learned from that experience.
I'm not so sure what you have in mind. But let me say, our economy has faced challenges. I'm sure you're aware.
Yes.
Zimbabwe has been under sanctions for decades as a result of us claiming our land from the British and making ourselves independent. We seized the land and gave it to our people. So sanctions were imposed on us. But in spite of all that constraint we have developed, and we are happy that we have developed on our own, and we feel very independent.
Well, some of the land was seized from people who were born there. So I wonder if there's a lesson about targeting people on the basis of their skin color. Do you think?
Can I hear you?
Well, people had their land seized in Zimbabwe who were born in Zimbabwe, and they were targeted on the basis of their race. And I wonder if you think that's good or bad.
No. Land did not belong to a race. It
Right,
belonged to
that's right.
Zimbabweans. So when the colonialists took land from us, time came when we asserted ourselves, take back our land. And those who wanted to have land at the same basis as the African people of Zimbabwe remained. But those who felt they were superior left.
President Mnangagwa, what did you think of what happened in Venezuela last month?
Venezuela is very far away from Zimbabwe.
Yes, it is. yes, sir.
Just a place.
But I wonder. I still wonder, as a head of state, a longtime head of state, what you thought of that. I mean, you must pay attention to what happens to other heads of state.
Yeah, but I don't know what we really read in Zimbabwe actually happens in Venezuela. But from what we read, we are interested to know why it is happening.
That's not just a comeback, that's a doctrine. And it's spreading across Africa because leaders are tired of being asked to pick between powers that both want the same thing: control over African resources. Mnangagwa just told the world that era is over. Africa decides for itself now.